We know sports.
10-5 touchdown!
97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City, a Town Square media station. This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app. Now, live from the Matt Black Kia Studios.
Oh, what a move!
Here's Josh Hennig.
This is technically the final Football Friday of the 2021-2022 NFL season. Listen, the Super Bowl is coming, but this is the last time we have an NFL weekend. 2 games on Sunday, and we will preview it all, break it all down for you right here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Also, we will talk the latest Sixers news with you as well this hour. Coming up at 6:20, DraftKings NFL analyst Reid Fowler will join me to break it all down, give you guys all the news and information you need to get ready for Championship Sunday. But before we get to any of that, and of course tonight, I'll get to Sixers news in just a second. We will announce the South Jersey High School Athlete of the Week. Each week, we give you the South Jersey High School Athlete of the Week at 6:50 p.m. The winner. People have been voting all week over at 973ESPN.com and the 973 ESPN mobile app. But right now, before we get to the NFL, before we get to the Athlete of the Week, we got to talk Sixers because there was some news today. And you guys can react to it over at 609-403-0973 on the text board. You can DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, thanks to First Bank of Seattle City. If you would have had the app, you would have seen the news alert earlier today. So there is an end after the Sixers' big win last night. Let's start there. Good win. No LeBron James. But you beat a team you're supposed to beat. Good job, Sixers. Good job. I'm proud of you. Here's the problem. Last night's game, all it does is validate Daryl Morey's original position. And Daryl Morey's original position is this. I'm not trading Ben Simmons for a bag of basketballs. All right? Now, I've told you guys before, in my opinion, I think that in order for a trade to get done, it's going to take both people involved, the Sixers and another organization or 2 or 3, whoever it is, all working on the same level of desire to make a deal done. And today's news proves that there is at least one team that has talked to the 76ers who really is not serious. According to ESPN NBA insider Adrian Wojnarowski, the Sacramento Kings, one of the most aggressive teams in the NBA trade market and once an eager suitor for Ben Simmons, have now ended pursuit of the deal with the Sixers and turned elsewhere in trade talks. Woj goes on to report, inside of 2 weeks until the NBA 10th trade deadline, the Kings believe the asking price for Simmons is too steep and that a pathway to reaching an agreement with the Sixers doesn't exist, sources say. Now, there's 2 reasons why this story is significant. Number one, the Kings, to me, were always the team that I didn't believe was serious. And this news proves it. Because the majority of the reports out there were that they've been trying to trade some guys for a while. And that the main trade assets that have been discussed in trades have been guys like Harrison Barnes and Buddy Hield and Rashawn Holmes. I'm sorry, but I don't care what team is calling. In what reality do those 3 guys net you a guy with Ben Simmons' resume? Forget everything you dislike about Ben Simmons. All of you listening to the sound of my voice on 97.3 ESPN FM or the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. Forget about the missed dunk. Forget about Ben Simmons and everything of your bias says. On paper, Ben Simmons is a 3-time NBA All-Star. He's a 2-time NBA All-Defensive Team, first team selection. That's who Ben Simmons is. That's his profile on NBA 2K. That's his rating basis on NBA 2K, right? You can't trade those 3 guys for Ben Simmons and expect someone to approve it on an NBA trade simulator. So why would you do it in real life? It absolutely blows my mind that people are that cheap. It is so bad that people think that those guys are a good enough return for Ben Simmons. Really? Why? I don't get it. I don't understand it. I think that people are so angry about Ben Simmons and dislike him so much that they're as rational as the Kings are to think that that would be a decent amount of assets to get that guy. Now, look, I've said myself, Daryl Morey is like the car salesman who goes out there and offers you a car, but he tries to upsell you. And I don't blame Daryl Morey for an upsell at all. It's his right to try to get the best deal possible. It's his job to do what's in the best interest of the 76ers organization. But trading Ben Simmons to the Kings would have been a repeat of 30 years ago when the Sixers traded Charles Barkley to the Suns for Jeff Hornacek, Andrew Lang, and Tim Perry. That deal didn't work out. And you know why the deal didn't work out? Because the Sixers were more interested in making a trade than making the best trade. That is bad. That is poor. That is a bad job. I don't want Daryl Morey to do that again. And neither should you. So you should be glad that the Kings have dropped out. The second thing to take away from this news is that a team like the Kings were aggressive, is the word that Woj used. And they were eager suitors for Ben Simmons. Now, we have been telling you about reports for months now of the teams that are interested in Ben Simmons. And the Kings were on the list for several months. You now take one of the teams out of the running for Ben. You now have the Timberwolves, the Cavs, the Pelicans, the Pacers, and the Spurs are the teams that are left. And of course, the reports out there that you have Daryl Morey's golden goose, which is James Harden, potentially waiting in the offseason for a sign-in trade. Now, whatever scenario comes out, if any of those teams want Ben Simmons beforehand, they got to get it done immediately. You have 2 weeks to the deadline. You can't sit on your hands and hope that Morey just decides, I like you. I'm going to make a trade with you. That's ridiculous. All right. The Kings ended their pursuit of Ben Simmons in part because they were not willing to give up what was necessary. And frankly, there was nobody on the Kings I really liked anyway. De'Aaron Fox, Tyrese Maxey is already De'Aaron Fox, basically. Buddy Hield and Seth Curry are similar players. Harrison Barnes he's basically a lesser version of Tobias Harris at this point. And Sixer fans already know who Rashawn Holmes is. Tyrese Halliburton, he's kind of like Ben Simmons, except he shoots more. And he doesn't play as good defense. Like, what are we doing here, guys? Why would I want to make a deal with the Kings? Now, I'm not saying the other teams are that much better offers, right? The Timberwolves, depending on who you ask, are serious or not serious about improving their team. The Cavs are in a weird situation because with all the injuries they've sustained, they're like in a very precarious situation where they don't have as many assets to move because they don't have much depth to work with. The Pelicans are a dumpster fire. We already can tell what's going to happen down there. I mean, the Zion Williams situation is making it untenable. And in the long run, everyone who's from the front office down might lose their jobs in that organization. I mean, poor Willie Green, he's not working with very much down there. Pacers, there's a lot of speculation that they're still a team that is willing to make a trade or not. I mean, the Pacers are a team that they're hanging around, right? They're hanging around just enough to not be in wholesale selling mode. The Pacers right now at 17-32. They're 6 games behind the Wizards for the final playoff spot for the play-in game. Now, 6 may seem like a lot, but considering the teams in front of them are not much better than them, the Hawks and the Knicks, and the Wizards and the Raptors are 2 of the teams in right now, 6 games can be made up if you go on a hot streak. So the Pacers got to make a decision. If they're buyers or sellers. If they're buyers, they could jump back into the playoff race pretty quickly. If they're sellers, they better sell quick and hard. The problem is, who is on the Pacers that you really want? Sabonis and Tobias Harris basically play the same position. Karis LeVert is not fit into the category of Daryl Morey's top 30 player type caliber player in the league. He's a very good player, but he's not a great player. They get a team like the Spurs, DeJounte Murray. He fits that top 30, top 40 potential player. But if that's all you're getting for Ben Simmons, that doesn't seem like a lot, really. So it really does come down to, is a team willing to step up and get serious before the deadline? I know one thing for sure. Daryl Morey isn't going to make the same Charles Barkley mistake. He's not trading Ben Simmons for a bag of basketballs. He's not trading Ben Simmons for Andrew Lang and Jeff Hornacek and Tim Perry, and neither should he. He should not do that because Ben Simmons has value. Whether you like Ben Simmons or not, he has value around the league. It's just finding a team that is willing to put a real offer on the table. Josh Hennig hanging out with you here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Of course, you can DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. Thanks to First Bank of Seattle City. You also can text in at 609-403-0973. Coming up about 6 minutes from now, DraftKings NFL analyst Reid Fowler joins the show. Message chimes in, says, what about Ben Simmons for Zion Williamson? First of all, I would personally need more than Zion because, one, Zion's contract isn't enough to make the deal work financially. So you need more anyway. And two, why would I want a guy who can't stay healthy? Apparently, they basically told Zion to go away and do his rehab because it's not going very well. And he's gained a ton of weight since he had this injury to his foot. I think Zion Williamson is on his way to being an NBA bust. And I don't wish ill will on the young man. He seems like a wonderful kid. He seems like he's got a good personality. He's a good human being, right? But his body doesn't seem to be able to hold up under the weight of his frame. He's built like a linebacker. He's not built like a football player. So I'm concerned about his long-term future. So do I want Zion? No. But the Pelicans turned to me and said, look, we got to hit a reset button. We'll give you more than, like, if they called and said, I'll give you Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson for Ben Simmons, I'd at least listen. To me, Ingram is the guy that is at least close to the caliber of player that Daryl Morey is looking for. Ingram fulfills a couple specific needs. One, he's a guy who can get his own shot. Two, he takes pressure off of Joel Embiid offensively. And three, while Ingram is nowhere near the defensive player that Ben Simmons is, he does go get rebounds. He's not a horrible rebounder like some of the current players on the Sixers roster are. Now, you look at Brandon Ingram's growth in New Orleans. You got to give the guy credit. He has grown. He has evolved. He's improved as a basketball player. His defense is still shoddy. It's not good. But the dude is averaging 6 rebounds and 5 assists a game on a garbage basketball team right now. He would make sense to be the second or third option in the Sixers offense. Again, he's not the perfect player, but he's at least a guy that if you called me and said, look, Zion and Ingram, you interested? If I'm Daryl Morey, I'm at least saying, I'll have a conversation. Doesn't mean I'm going to say yes to it, but I'll at least have a conversation about it. But Zion for Ben, straight up, that's a no for me. I'm not a fan of guys who can't stay healthy already. You know, in terms of Ben, I don't really care about where Ben goes specifically. I care about getting the best return on a trade. Listen, I've said before, there's a handful of trades out there that if these teams were serious, the deal will get done. If the Timberwolves call you and say, Anthony Edwards, you interested? That's serious. Pelicans call and say, Brandon Ingram, you serious? That's serious. Spurs call and say, DeJounte Murray, you interested? That's serious. Buddy Hield, Harrison Barnes, Tyrese Halliburton, that's not serious. All right, NFL Championship Sunday coming up this weekend. You hear all the action right here on 97.3 ESPN. We have a full busy weekend coming up. Sixers tomorrow night at 7:30. Flyers at 1 p.m. tomorrow. And then in between there, you got college basketball action. You have Baylor taking on Alabama in college basketball action. Baylor, one of the best teams in college basketball. So we got hockey, basketball tomorrow on 97.3 ESPN, following Billy Schwein in the locker room from 10 a.m. to noon. And of course, then on Sunday, you have the NFL championship games. Reid Fowler from DraftKings joins us next to preview all the games, and I'll give you my picks at the end of the show. Plus, tonight we will announce the South Jersey High School Athlete of the Week. All coming up here on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. And of course, you can DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. Thanks to First Bank of Seattle City. You also can text in 609-403-0973. I'm Josh Hennig. This is Game Night.
Saturday morning in the locker room with Billy Schwein. As the snow falls in South Jersey, we'll keep you warm with our football conversation. Former Eagles linebacker Brad Quatz and I will talk NFL playoffs. The sportsbook consigliere Dave Sherapan checks in from Vegas with his picks for Sunday's AFC-NFC championship games. We will hear from 2 former Kansas City Chiefs, tight end Jonathan Hayes, and local standout from Mainland High School Dave Klemick check in. It's the locker room with Billy Schwein Saturday morning from 10 a.m. to noon on 97.3 ESPN.
Oh my God!
On Wednesday, February 9th,
The atmosphere is electric.
the 2 hottest live professional wrestling television shows, AEW Dynamite and AEW Rampage,
The hottest ticket in town.
make their Atlantic City debut live
Unbelievable!
at the legendary wrestling venue Boardwalk Hall.
Look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this!
The best in the world, CM Punk,
CM Punk in AEW.
Hangman Page, Bryan Danielson, Adam Cole, Dr. Britt Baker, Cody Rhodes, MJF,
Every MJF moment is the best MJF moment.
Jay, Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara in the Inner Circle, Orange Cassidy, Darby Allin, the Icon Sting, and all your favorite AEW stars will headline this amazing night of elite professional wrestling action.
It's going to be a wild and crazy, unpredictable night, I can tell you that. Too many combustible elements here.
Don't miss AEW Live. Tickets start at $29 plus fees. Go to AEWTix.com.
The free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help troubleshoot the likely cause of your pesky check engine light for free and get you back on the road. Restrictions apply. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
PropSwap is where America buys and sells sports bets. The football playoffs are here and prop swappers are cashing in. You can always find the best odds on PropSwap because you're buying directly from other bettors. PropSwap has fantastic features like filtering tickets based on the best value, a free activity feed to stay in the know with all the big sales, a loyalty rewards program that turns your sales into extra bonus cash, and much more. Go to PropSwap.com or download the free PropSwap app today.
If your family depends on your income and something happened to you, what would happen to them? You need life insurance, and SelectQuote can help you get it at a price you can afford.
SelectQuote found Jacob, 40, who's in excellent health, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for only $19 a month.
Not in perfect health? Don't worry.
SelectQuote found Tanya, 40, who has type 2 diabetes, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for only $32 a month.
We shop companies like Protective, Prudential, American General, and others to find you the company with the best rates. Give your family the security they need at a price you can afford.
For your free quote, call 1-800-519-0449. That's 1-800-519-0449. Or go to SelectQuote.com. That's 1-800-519-0449.
SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policies at selectquote.com/commercials. Your premium could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
2021 is officially in the rearview mirror, and we are well into the winter of 2022. Hi, Tom McAllister from McAllister the Service Company. People often ask me what is the secret to the incredible success of the McAllister organization. The answer is simple. It's our core values of honesty, integrity, and our 100% satisfaction guarantee. For over 145 years, our clients call us not because we service or install a particular make or brand of equipment. They call us because they are trusting their home comfort to the experts at McAllister. So if you put off upgrading your air conditioning system last year, now is the perfect time to take advantage of discounts and rebates offered by the state and the utilities. Remember, after January 23rd, there are only 8 Saturdays left until spring. Talk to the experts at McAllister, 609-927-4122, or at mcservice.com for all your heating and air conditioning needs. McAllister cannot control the weather, but we can control your comfort.
Want a deal you'll love on a Valentine's Day gift they'll love? Shop and save right now at Kohl's. Get 20% off Food Network bakeware, up to 50% off festive pillows and decor, and sterling silver diamond pendants for just $69.99. On top of all that, you can get an extra 15% off and earn Kohl's Cash. What are you waiting for? Get to Kohl's and celebrate the special moments for less. Select styles, 15% offer ends January 30th. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Save thousands at Matt Blatt Kia. Get out of your old trade today, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. Go to mattblattkianj.com for more details. That's mattblattkianj.com.
It's gotta be a
Matt Blatt Kia.
You're listening to Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Josh Hennig here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. And of course, Sunday is Championship Sunday, and you want to get in on the action. Of course, you can do that with DraftKings Sportsbook. Joining us right now to talk more about it, Reid Fowler. You can follow him on Twitter at Reid T. Fowler for all of his, not just the NFL, but the golf action as well. Reid, how you doing today?
Good. Yeah, this is the penultimate, I think the most overused word in in our industry, especially in golf. It's the weekend before we get the big dance, right, in Los Angeles, and one team now can make it back-to-back years of being being the host city and also the team that makes it in the Los Angeles Rams. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see how things pan out. Let's see if destiny and fate, Josh, just did trump logic with the Cincinnati Bengals. But I'm really excited for this weekend. It should be a lot of fun.
Well, let's start with the game in Los Angeles because that is the host city Super Bowl. It's the second game on Sunday. And, this is fascinating because the Rams have lost 6 straight to Kyle Shanahan, the 49ers. But it's in the Rams' house, but the Rams don't have a real home field advantage. There's a lot of speculation out there. The 49ers are going to flood the stadium again. So, when you look at this game, which factor do you think is going to matter the most in this game?
Yeah, I think it's good. The easy answer, the cop-out answer is the quarterbacks, right? That's always the easiest. It's where it starts, it's where it's finished. And in most of these games is how do they play? And especially for these two guys, is it mistake-free? And then for Jimmy Garoppolo specifically, can he do it being battered, bruised, and broken to an extent of, right, no shoulder, no thumb. And that's kind of what he did last week in a much colder and more difficult climate than the comfy confines of SoFi, right, in a dome in Los Angeles, nonetheless, right? Why isn't a dome? Why don't they have a dome in Buffalo, dome in Los Angeles? Give me a break here, guys. But that's really where it comes down to. And if you're Shanahan, and this, so that's number one. Number two, Josh, I think, is the coaching, right? It's kind of going down the logic tree of how these things are going to pan out. Is the coaching. Is Shanahan going to switch up what he's done so well and so efficiently against San Francisco in run the ball? They've run it 60% or close to 60% of the time this season against the Rams, and that's been the recipe. He's always said, I want to run the ball 40 times, 40 plus times I want to run the ball. And if that's the case, and McVay has seen that now twice on tape, does he keep on pushing that and say, well, beat me, right? Prove that you can beat me when I put up against this game plan? Or does he switch and say, you know what? They're not expecting Jimmy Garoppolo to pass, so we're going to pass a lot more, or make it a more 50-50 split. And then at the end of it, can these playmakers like the Staffords, the OBJs, like the Deebo Samuel, is he going to be healthy, George Kittle? How does that play out? The X's and O's, right? And that's really where most of these games are in our world, won and lost, when we see these players duke it out on Sunday. So those are things I'm looking at, but I'm leaning probably, and this is probably going to be a little bit contrarian, I'm leaning towards San Francisco covering, but I do like Los Angeles to win.
Well, let me ask you this. Is that really contrarian? Because I feel like there's a lot of people who are split on this game. I don't feel like there's a consensus on this. I was listening to somebody this morning in Vegas explain that apparently the sharp money is split on this game. There's really not a great side here. So, to me, that sounds more like a situation where you're like, hey, you know what? I can't tell you for sure who's going to win, but that 3.5 looks a little bit too weird for me not to play with.
Yeah, and because of what's happening, right? Because of San Francisco, and like you mentioned, how Kyle Shanahan has dominated Sean McVay in years past. And you're right, look, 61% of the cash is on LA right now. And you take a look at, right, the converse, the other money's obviously very split down with San Francisco. But I do think that a lot of people now are jumping on the bandwagon. I'm going to say a lot of people. I'm saying the doubters of Los Angeles throughout the entire season, preseason, regular season, saying like they can't do it. Stafford hasn't proven himself. They don't have any depth, yada, yada, yada. And now they're one game into the Super Bowl, and I have countless people in my mentions saying, okay, now I believe in Los Angeles. But I've been beating this drum for the entire year that this is the most complete team that we have currently out there. This was before OBJ. So maybe in my mind, it's contrarian because I've been fighting that a little bit to say that now I think San Francisco is going to cover, but I still think LA is going to win. And also too, right, if you're betting and if you're me, if you're in sort of a similar situation that I am, is that you have an outright on Los Angeles that you put in the preseason. So you kind of want to hedge your bet, right, with San Francisco. And that's how you're supposed to do it, right? If you have an outright, a future, you're supposed to hedge it down the line. And so maybe that's a little bit of where I'm coming from as well. But I do think San Francisco has the game plan to mitigate the winning by margin for Los Angeles.
Now, you mentioned OBJ. There's two props over on DraftKings Sportsbook that I find interesting. One is the OBJ and George Kittle combined for 150 receiving yards. The other one's the Elijah Mitchell, Cam Akers combined for 150 rushing yards. Is there one of those two that you like more than the other?
Yeah, those are two that I'm pretty split on. And the reason being is I do like George Kittle to have a good game, because how do you beat Los Angeles, right? It's across the middle. We know that it's, their linebackers are okay, but they're not athletic enough to stop George Kittle. And we've seen it in years past. So he's just dominated, right? And so is Deebo Samuel. But if the offense is if the defense is going to hone in on Samuel, then George Kittle should have a really good game. And those guys don't have good correlations. When one has a good game, the other usually doesn't. So I do like the Kittle side. The one part that I don't like about that specifically, though, is that I don't think these quarterbacks go over their passing prop. That's not to say that one has to happen for the other, right? So I do like that one a little bit more than the Cam Akers and Elijah Mitchell because of, and this is what's the big part of it, Deebo gets rushing 10 attempts per game over the last two. He's going to be incorporated in this game no matter what in that backfield. And Cam Akers fumbled twice, Josh, last weekend, almost let Tom Brady come back, especially late in the game. That's going to factor in. And what have we seen Sean McVay do in years past is lean on that veteran running back to hold on to the ball, to secure the ball, to move the chains, and to stay on schedule. And Sony Michel might be more of a factor this game than he has like in the last 2 games that we've seen so far. Cam Akers played really, really well. So I like that OBJ Kittle a little bit more than the running backs.
Reid Fowler joining us here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN NFL Championship Sunday. You hear all the action this Sunday. Coverage begins at 2 p.m. right here on 97.3 ESPN. Follow Reid on Twitter at Reid T. Fowler for all of his NFL, DFS, and golf coverage with DraftKings. Let's go to the first game, the big game, the game that everyone is salivating over for a variety of reasons. Bengals Chiefs. Last time these teams played, the Bengals found a way to win. Now, you can argue the Chiefs might have given them that game in some ways, but this is a game where it looks very one-sided. From the outside looking in, people are going to say, look, there's no way the Chiefs are going to lose this game. So if we assume the Chiefs are going to win, then what is the value to you if you jump on DraftKings Sportsbook?
Yeah, I think if you want to tease both of these games, you can. I wouldn't necessarily do it, but that's one way to find value in teasing Kansas City down. And then you take the San Francisco 49ers and you tease them up, right? You never want to go through a key number of 0. So you want to tease them up. So if that's how you want to play it, maybe pay it right, that minus 120 to do that, then you can. Or you can take the money line parlay the money line with Kansas City and the Los Angeles Rams. It gives you plus money as well. Because right now, look, I'm on the side of Kansas City, winning this. And so I don't mind laying the 7 points. I would love it to get it at 6.5, but I don't think that's going to happen. These numbers haven't moved at all, essentially, over the last couple of days. And that's the one part, right? And if you take a look at that last game, like you mentioned, Josh, and it's a statement win for Cincinnati. They were down early and they came back. And so it adds to the legend, right? The lore of Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. And like I mentioned earlier, does fate trump logic? Because logic tells us that Kansas City should win this by margin. They were dominant in that first half of that game. They allowed Cincinnati, like you mentioned, to come back. They got some favorable calls, and we'll just leave it at that towards the end of that game. And that's really where you saw Kansas City start to flex their muscle back. Really, it started in week 14 of the regular season for Kansas City. Then you started to see them, okay, we're the Chiefs. Let's stop fooling around and let's start to put the gas pedal to the metal. So I'm a little bit weary on this one because, man, momentum, and we've seen it with the Packers, the Giants, these teams that have come, as the 6th seed, as a wild card, win the whole dang thing because of momentum. And that's really what Cincinnati has. They're like, we can't lose. No one's beating us. We can't lose. But let's remember, too, outside of that, that bogus call, we'll call it that, in the Raiders game, they've averaged about 20, 21 points a game. That's not going to cut against Kansas City.
I got to admit, though, the thing I really like about this game is the over. I just don't see a scenario where this is like a 24-20 game. You know what I mean? I understand that Tyrann Mathieu is probably going to be back and all that stuff, but I think it's more likely that Kansas City, like, let's say under your scenario, they covered the 7. I can see Kansas City winning 38-28. Well, that covers the 54.5, right? So I don't see a scenario where the Bengals hold Kansas City to a low number. So to me, you could argue that, this game is probably going to be the best bet might be the over.
Yeah. So the one thing that worries me about the over is not necessarily Kansas City. You're right. Cincinnati's defense cannot stop Travis Kelce, in my opinion. No one can stop Tyreek Hill. You can only hope to contain him. And the argument for the under, which I agree with you. I think if you're going to bet a side on the total, it has to be the over. But the argument for the under is Jerick McKinnon and this running game does have a good spot against this Cincinnati run defense. You saw Derrick Henry was not. He was a shell of himself. And I think Tennessee really did a disservice to that team and to their fan base trying to get Henry back so quickly when Donta Foreman looked like the better running back, bar none. That's just, you pass the eye test, the stat test, and everything in between. Cincinnati was allowing Josh Jacobs 6.4 yards per attempt in that Raiders game. So Kansas City does have an angle to run the ball if they wanted to. And having said that, like if Joe Burrow is going to have 1.1 second to pass the ball, that's going to be a lot of CJ Uzomah. It's not going to be a lot of Jamar Chase. If they don't block Kansas City, and Kansas City doesn't have a great defensive line, or they don't apply a lot of pressure like Tennessee does, but Spagnuolo rushes and blitzes, I think, the 8th or 10th most in the NFL in the regular season. If that's the case, and he's got, less time to pass, it's going to be a lot of dump offs and a lot of hopeful yards after the catch to keep that score up. But I'm with you. If there's one side on the total you got to bet, it's the over. But there's an argument for the under, so that's why I'm probably staying away.
With that being said, I gotta say the DraftKings Sportsbook special I like the most on this game is the Mahomes and Burrow to combine for 600 passing yards. Because I could totally see a scenario where Burrow is in catch-up mode and just chucking it everywhere, in the fourth quarter. Like, he might get more than 300 by himself, while Mahomes is, like you said, just handing the ball off to McKinnon and everybody else.
Right. And if you look at that secondary for Kansas City, Gabriel Davis did an absolute number. And I apologize, I forget the cornerback's name, but he put him on skates and sent him, pushing daisies. It was beautiful what Gabriel Davis did. And that's why a lot of people love T. Higgins. That's why a lot of people like the secondary and tertiary receivers in Cincinnati, is because Kansas City secondary, even though it got better, and they've done this year after year, where they don't look great in the beginning, and then they figure something out towards the middle and towards the end. And it's still like if there's an area to exploit in this defense for Kansas City, it's their secondary. So I agree with you. Again, that special is nice, but I just have this feeling, and it's probably all qualitative, and it's probably just, narrative street of this might be the end of the road for Cincinnati. It doesn't mean, though, that Joe Burrow, like you mentioned, can't go for 375 yards.
Reid, when you look at the outcome, I'm getting the sense from you that you think it's going to be a Chiefs-Rams Super Bowl, correct?
Yeah, I think it's going to be Chiefs-Rams, and I do think, especially in LA, the Rams, and this is probably because I had a prediction back in September that I want to come to fruition from my bank account and just for, my own personal achievements, so to speak. But yeah, I do think it's going to be Kansas City, Los Angeles.
That means 2 straight years, the Super Bowl will be in the same building as the team playing. And the Chiefs will have to go against that twice in 2 years. I mean, what are the odds that Patrick Mahomes makes it to 3 straight Super Bowls and 2 of them are on the home field of the team he's playing? Like, it's the most ridiculous scenario ever.
Yeah. I mean, those odds, if they were on a sports book, if they ever existed, because those don't ever, would be plus $1 million, right? There is no way. But look, hey, if that's the case in Kansas City, like rarely would you have any experience, right? Could you, if you're Andy Reid and the coaching staff last year and said, hey, look, this is just a regular season game that we're playing in Tampa Bay at home. No, this is a Super Bowl. Now these guys, if they make it, hey, remember what we did last year in Tampa Bay where we, the bet? Don't do the opposite in Los Angeles.
Right. Also, you might have to do the opposite anyway because it's a completely different city as well. I mean, let's be realistic. I mean, what's going on in the world today, Los Angeles is different in many ways. So I'll just leave it at that. Reid, I know you also do DFS, so I got a DFS question for you because I know people love to get action. So they're jumping on DraftKings. They want to do a DFS lineup. Who's the kicker? Who's the kicker you're picking on Sunday?
I mean, it's hard to go against Harrison Butker, right? There's yes, Robbie Gould. Yes, McPherson is, he's good, man. He's a solid pick for Cincinnati. And you're seeing it come to fruition. You're seeing that pick pay dividends already. And that bottle, the bottle cap challenge that, went across the internet and him doing that. I don't know if that's true or not. I think it is, but he did the bottle cap challenge where he kicked the ball into the rafters and it went off. So I do like that. But if I'm looking at Cincinnati not being able to stop Kansas City, and from a DFS perspective, Harrison Butker has been essentially second to Justin Tucker for the last 5 years, right? He's the second best kicker in my mind. And you could argue that Daniel Carlson, you could argue that the AFC West has the best kickers. But I do think that Harrison Butker is the kicker that you want just because of the points that Kansas City can put up. The one problem, though, with that is that Patrick Mahomes and these guys go for it a lot in fourth down, especially if they're like on the, the opponent's 50, or excuse me, closer to on the opponent's side of the field. They don't kick it, as much as you would want to gain those points. So that's also something to think about. But I do think they put up enough points for Bucker to be the kicker.
He's Reid Fowler. Follow him on Twitter at Reid T. Fowler for all of his NFL, DFS, golf coverage with DraftKings. He's doing this right here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Reid, appreciate you jumping on today.
All right, Josh, take care. Good luck.
That was Reid Fowler. Record that a little bit earlier in the day. Not earlier in the day, but a little breaking news here. Brian Dabal has been hired as the new head coach of the New York Football Giants. I want to give you a quick reaction to this because this just literally came down while we were listening and talking with Reid Fowler there. But a couple things. One, I think it's a sign that the relationship between Joe Schoen and Brian Dabal from Buffalo was very strong. And I think that, for whatever reason, Dabal, there was a lot of speculation that Dabal was going to go to Miami because of Tua, because Dabal was working at Alabama while Tua was also at Alabama. So the speculation was that, which quarterback is he going to choose? Is he going to choose Tua or choose Daniel Jones? I don't think that's the reason why he made the decision. I don't think he chose Daniel Jones over Tua. I think he chose Joe Schoen, their GM in the Giants now, who he worked with the Buffalo, over Chris Greer in Miami. When they fired Brian Flores, you had a situation where the owner of the organization, Stephen Ross, chose the GM, who has made some questionable decisions over the last few years, over the head coach, who the players loved in that locker room. And I don't know if Brian Dabal wanted to walk into a situation where he would be having to cater to and keep happy a GM who apparently has more power in the organization than he should. I think that Dabal said, look, I love the idea of working with Tua again, but I know Joe Schoen, and I know him and I can be on the same page. I think this is a win-win for Dabal and for the Giants. Daniel Jones is going to benefit immensely. This is the only chance Daniel Jones has to become a better quarterback. The Bills took Josh Allen from an uncoordinated, poor mechanics quarterback and turned him into a superstar in just a few years. Give Dabal 3 years with Daniel Jones. He will get better. Bad news for the NFC East. Good news for the New York Football Giants. Brian Dabal is your new head coach. We'll talk more NFL on the other side here on 97.3 ESPN FM. I'm Josh Hennig. This is Game Night.
Sunday, it's the championship round of the NFL playoffs as we bring you a special doubleheader. First, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs host Joe Burrow and the Bengals in the AFC title game. Then, two division rivals battle each other for the NFC championship when the Rams take on the 49ers. Who will advance to Super Bowl 56 in Los Angeles? Hear the playoff picture unfold right here.
Listen to the championship round of the NFL playoffs on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins at 2 p.m.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's, and it's Pro Football Playoffs time. Chickies and Pete's is ready with the most outstanding in-game experience anywhere. Come join the best fans in the world to watch all the action and hear the sounds of the game. Enjoy ice-cold draft beer, our outstanding craft beer selection, and all your game day Chickies and Pete's food favorites. The Pro Football Playoffs and world-famous crab fries. What a combination. Chickies and Pete's, the home of game day and the best fans in the world. Hey, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's, and we love to party. Order Chicky and Pete's catering to go for your next party, office or corporate gathering, even your next virtual event. Chicky and Pete's catering to go menu features full or half pans of more than 24 of your Chicky and Pete's favorites. Seafood including crabs, shrimp, mussels, and clams, plus burgers, cheesesteaks, roast beef, and pork, salads, wings, and of course, our signature crab fries. Click catering at chickiesandpete's.com to see our menu. That's chickyandpete's.com.
Oh, oh, O'Reilly.
When you need auto parts, O'ReillyAuto.com is just a few clicks away. We offer convenient options for you to get your parts quickly. Order online and pick up for free at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store. We'll even bring it out curbside. Or you can have your parts delivered right to your door with free shipping on most orders over $35. Visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This whole wall needs to be shelving too. This is a focal point in our restaurant.
Leilani's new restaurant will have the largest wine cellar in the city. She needs a robust sommelier with notes of procurement manager.
3 sections for France. I mean, this is the biggest.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Tyndall Auto Plaza has the area's largest selection of pre-owned vehicles of all makes and models, with over 170 pre-owned vehicles on their huge 100-acre lot. Everything from sporty coupes to SUVs to trucks. Tyndall offers the area's best buying experience, easy and hassle-free, with 60 years of customer satisfaction and community service. Discover why Tyndall customers are so loyal. Shop for your next pre-owned vehicle at Tyndall Auto Plaza, exit 10 of the Parkway, Stone Harbor Boulevard, or online at KindleAutoplaza.com.
Want a deal you'll love on a Valentine's Day gift they'll love? Shop and save right now at Kohl's. Get 20% off Food Network bakeware, up to 50% off festive pillows and decor, and sterling silver diamond pendants for just $69.99. On top of all that, you can get an extra 15% off and earn Kohl's cash. What are you waiting for? Get to Kohl's and celebrate the special moments for less. Select styles, 15% offer ends January 30th. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? With nights getting longer, it might be time to refresh your headlights. You'll see better and drive safer. Why not try Sylvania Silver Star Ultra Bulbs? They have the furthest down road light, and right now you can get a $10 AutoZone gift card by mail or email when you buy 2. Visit one of our 6,000 stores or order from AutoZone.com for same-day store pickup or free next-day delivery.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
PropSwap is where America buys and sells sports bets. The football playoffs are here, and prop swappers are cashing in. You can always find the best odds on PropSwap because you're buying directly from other bettors. PropSwap has fantastic features like filtering tickets based on the best value, a free activity feed to stay in the know with all the big sales, a loyalty rewards program that turns your sales into extra bonus cash, and much more. Go to PropSwap.com or download the free PropSwap app today.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
We'll announce the South Jersey High School Athlete of the Week in just a couple minutes right here on 97.3 ESPN. Breaking news that happened before we went to break while we were talking with Reid Fowler from DraftKings. Again, thanks to him for joining the show. I'll give you my picks for the NFL weekend in just a bit. So I genuinely think that this is the best hire of the NFL season so far. I think that, you have a situation where Dabal is the guy who makes the most sense. He is the guy who can do the most for the Giants. He did an incredible job at helping develop and retool and advance Josh Allen. And I think that Dabal is going to bring some of those similar concepts to New York. I think that this is bad news for the NFC East. I think that the Giants organization got a major upgrade in the last week. The combination of hiring Joe Schoen and Brian Dabal. To me, frankly, either Bills coordinator would have made sense for the Giants. When you have a GM come in, you want him to have someone who has a similar vision, has a similar belief in what you're doing. And I think that Dabal is going to do some great work for the Giants. And I think that, Schoen has the track record to show that he can upgrade the organization. So of the 3 hires right now, Nathaniel Hackett to the Broncos, Matt Eberflus to the Bears, and Dabal to the Giants. I say Dabal is the best hire. And I say Schoen right now is like the best GM as well of those three situations. Nothing against George Payton, but he's got something to prove right now. The Bills put themselves in a great situation, and the Eagles, the Giants, and the Cowboys, they should probably be sweating a little bit. All right, South Jersey High School Athlete of the Week. Each week we give you the nominees, and you vote over at 97.3ESPN.com and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. Your nominees this week are Emma Peretti of Hamilton. The junior has 8 double-doubles in her last 9 games for the Hamilton Blue Devils, including a 38-point, 23-rebound performance against Our Lady of Mercy. Also, Jameer Smith-Blunt of Holy Spirit. The junior made 6 3-pointers on 7 attempts in their victory over Ocean City at the Coaches versus Cancer night. Archie Lawler of Lower Cape May, the junior, scored 25 points for the Tigers, an upset win over St. Joe's Academy. He's also the 3rd leading scorer in the Cape Atlantic League. Damani Almodovar of St. Augustine Prep, the senior, continues his consistent winning on the map, helping the Hermits advance to the state's top 20. Cole Jennings of St. Augustine Prep as well, the swimmer, who's a junior, won 2 events while leading the undefeated Prep Hermits past the previous undefeated EHT Eagles. And then Casey Mikulski of Wildwood Catholic, the sophomore, nailed 6 3-pointers in their win over Hamilton. She's one of the Cape Atlantic League's top perimeter shooters this year, having made 3 or more threes from behind the arc in 6 different games this year. Your winner, garnering 46.5% of the votes, Jameer White-Blunt of Holy Spirit. Congratulations to him. He's having a phenomenal season, and he's only a junior. Future is very bright for that young man. Holy Spirit's got a pretty good star in the making on their hands, in my opinion, over at Holy Spirit. So congratulations to Jameer. Also coming in second place, we should give credit to Casey Mikulski. She got a great turnout on votes as well. Be sure to tune in to 97.3 ESPN.com and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app each week, where we will give you the South Jersey nominees for the High School Athlete of the Week. All right, time for picks. You might have heard when I was talking to Reid Fowler where I was kind of leaning in some of these games. I'm going over in the Bengals Chiefs game, and I like the under in the 49ers Rams game. Now, if you're not thrilled with the numbers, because the over is 54.5 in the Bengals game, it's 45.5 in the Rams 49ers game. I know a lot of people out there, you might not be the biggest fan of teasers, but there is a teaser that still makes you money. All right. If you really want to play down this road, you shift the line by 3. You go from 45 to 48 on the under, and from 54 to 51 on the over. A $20 gets you 28 in return. So, and I'm the opposite of Mike Gill. Mike Gill said he thinks he's going to be the Bengals and 49ers in the Super Bowl. I can't believe I'm saying this. I think it's going to be Rams Chiefs in the Super Bowl. I really do. The game is hard for me to pick as the 49ers Rams. The 49ers winning streak is incredible. 6 straight against the Rams. But I just feel like Jimmy G has been so close to imploding for 2 straight weeks now for the 49ers. I just get the sense that I just get the sense that you have a situation where I think Jimmy G finally implodes. I think between him and Stafford right now, I'm trusting Stafford more. I think what he's done the last 2 games has proven that he is ready for this moment. And I think Jimmy G's arm is too banged up. The shoulder, the hand, he's not very accurate. So that's where I'm going. I do think the 49ers do have a chance to cover that 3.5. Really quick, another teaser that might make sense for you guys out there. You take the Bengals on the spread, take the 49ers on the spread. Again, you tease it down to 3. That also wins you 28. So some options for you to throw out there for this weekend. By the way, gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Please bet responsibly. Never bet beyond your limits. All right. Those are my picks. I think we're going to have a Rams-Chiefs Super Bowl. Thanks to Reid Fowler of DraftKings. Tomorrow, Billy Schwein in the locker room at 10 a.m. here on 97.3 ESPN, followed by Flyers hockey at 1 p.m., Baylor versus Alabama at 3:30, Sixers basketball at 7:30. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Tomorrow on ESPN Radio, the 5th-ranked Baylor Bears head to Tuscaloosa to face Alabama in the SEC Big 12 Challenge. The college basketball season continues.
Down to a rolling Edwards, missed it point blank. May have gotten touched by Banchero. Ball loose and Griffin clears it to the other end. Long pass to Williams, turns and dunks it with two hands.
Coverage begins after Flyers hockey, only on 97.3 ESPN.